When you get to the pinnacle, as certainly Paul did as an executive, and Kim having the pleasure as an executive's wife to be constantly present in circles of influence, places of decision-making amongst the millionaires and the billionaires and the investors of the world, when you get to that position, you can either deploy it for accurate good, or you can simply enjoy it and take the shimmer of its moment. And they both decided to laser in on the world's desperate needs.
Well, I grew up in the Netherlands, in the east on the German border, in fact, the city most to the east. I was born in 1956. My father made clear that one day in life I had to make my own living, so I ended up studying economics.
I grew up in Wisconsin, where I was also born. My parents were Christians. We grew up with a strong sense of love, love your neighbor, and do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
I'd made up my mind already to go to the US. What I liked about the University of Cincinnati, obviously there were great things. The combination of the economics and finance gave me enough to tap into. There was a course we had to take in business school that was called collective bargaining, and my wife was in the College Conservatory of Music, and she had to take that same course.
Not having a business background, not knowing anything about unions, business, whatever, he came to our rescue.
We struck a deal clearly and started liking each other. So the university means a lot to me, and it created this family, in fact. I came to Unilever in 2008. The company, frankly, wasn't in good shape. Its turnover had dropped from the mid-50 billion euros to about 38 billion euros. And frankly, the company had become a little bit more short-term focused and lost its mojo.
From the time he was in Unilever, he would constantly get us to think beyond our borders and to think about how can business play a larger role in the world.
So the first thing I did was stop quarterly reporting, stop giving guidance, move our compensation system truly to the long term, which still many companies haven't done. But it helped us because it freed up some people to start behaving differently and put one of these challenging programs or challenging strategies like the Unilever Sustainable Living Plan into action.
A chief executive can either run the accounts or they can set the tone. Paul made it very clear that Unilever had a track record already of lasered in, focused on sustainability. It cared about the nature of the planet's environmental good, but he wanted to go a step beyond that.
One of the things he always spoke about was sustainability led to more growth, less costs, less risks, more trust. And through the inspiration actions he led, he helped us make Unilever one of the most attractive employer brands in the world. When Paul first spoke about it, he was the lone leader.
Less bad is still bad, so we wanted to move this business model to what I call a net positive model, and that's still the journey Unilever and happily may I say more and more companies are now embarked on.
I think their involvement with the University of Cincinnati and Lindner has really changed over time from being students to being role models. To me, some of the most valuable opportunities we've had to learn through Paul and Kim have been our visits to Unilever, and the students would be saying, I didn't see it that way. And the light bulbs would go on, and they would be realizing this world needs different kinds of leaders.
He was a visionary with a hard nose for profit making. And there's no way the business was going to slide down the shareholder stakes. And in fact, it didn't. It rose substantially.
And it was Paul's vision and Paul's ability to think of the broader world, not just business, but seeing business as one of the players in this broader world to make the world a better place, that helped make us so attractive to the world outside.
You can't run a purposeful company if you're not purposeful yourself either. Just like you can't run a sustainable company if you're not sustainable.
So while he was inspiring and connecting the world, he didn't lose his grip on the business and ensuring that the right people are in the right job to do the right things in the business.
As I talk in my new book, Net Positive, how you can profit from solving the world's problems, not creating them. And too many companies are still in the mode of, frankly, thinking that they solve the world's problems, but they're actually creating them.
What he's trying to do is bring into the boardroom a way of thinking and educating and changing business.
And it must have taken tremendous moral courage for him to stand up to his team, to the broader teams inside and outside of Unilever and saying, we're going to believe in this, we're going to put profitability aside, and we are going to do the right things, because when we do the right things, the results will follow.
As corporate value leadership, there's much to be gained if people would follow stakeholder value, community values as being the benefit from companies.
They say, like, don't meet your heroes, but with Paul it's very different. It was, wow, you actually are the person that you are when you are this leader and everyone looks up to you. Working with him was amazing, inspiring, hard work in the best way.
Everything he devotes time to tends to produce results and benefits for other people.
Is the world better off because your company is in it or not? And for us, a net positive company are companies that first and foremost take responsibility of the total impact in the world, the total handprint, all consequences, intended or not. So imagine there's nothing else than an additional theory of change where we put a neutral platform out there by industry and create critical mass of CEOs together across a value chain. If we bring 20 to 25% of the CEOs together across a value chain by industry sector, you can actually drive tipping points.
It's remarkable to have a role model doing what he's doing that you can say, he's an alum. He was here. Kim was here. They were students at one time, like all of you, and look at the impact that they're having on this world.
The story of the imaginal cell is actually pronounced imaginal in its biological pronunciation. It is the cell that is innate in the caterpillar that holds the vision of the butterfly.
I remember getting a copy of Imaginal Cells and first of all not having a clue on earth what it meant, and then diving into a string of essays by familiar, well-known, serious international thoughtful leaders. What Kim Polman has done here is given you something which captures your imagination because it tells you what is achievable.
So Kim's vision for the foundation, Reboot the Future, is centered on the golden rule. Treat others and the planet as you would wish to be treated.
It takes so many visionary stories about how people have used the golden rule to infuse their daily decisions, their leadership roles, and their impact on the world.
So the idea behind it is that by living the golden rule, you become imaginal, a transformative person, and you reboot the future. The golden rule is really asking you to think carefully about what you say and what you do and how it affects others and the planet. The Kilimanjaro Blind Trust started because Paul went with 2 of our sons to climb the mountain with 8 blind people from around the world.
Then we visited these blind schools on the base of Mount Kilimanjaro and in towns like Arusha or Moshi. And the situation was quite dear, to be honest. And that was the beginning of the Kilimanjaro Blind Trust. Only 10% of these kids go to school, so we started advocating, we started ensuring that the material was there.
Now we have a new machine called the Orbit, which is a small digital machine. That's their pen and paper. And if they don't have a machine like this, they cannot become really fully literate.
She's revolutionizing a life for African children who are being taught how to be proud of themselves, how to get a job and look after themselves and teach the next generation of blind children.
By the end of this year, every blind student in school has their own machine. Because it's digital, there's now a communication direct between the blind student and the classroom teacher who does not know Braille, because it translates it into a regular text.
Every day we learn from them and we watch the impact they're making on the world, and they push us all to do more to make a positive change in this world.
Paul and Kim have chosen to integrate their common desire of virtue and value to gift to others and to live in peace in the presence of others.
They know so much that the future leaders, they start here. They start on campus. And seeing opportunities to support, especially rising, ambitious top students, is tremendous.
He grew up in the culture of doing the right thing, and I think he carries that with him to this day.
Everything they do in every single aspect of their life, they are both superheroes. And together, having superheroes together and the difference they can make is unbelievable.
It's not a matter just about climate change or sustainability in a sense. It's about human development. It's about inclusion. It's about ensuring that we have a world that functions for everybody.
I think the greatest legacy that Paul and Kim Polman have provided to our university is a model for what leaders can and must be for the future.
We are enablers for other people to be superheroes. I've always believed then that our job is to not to give other people energy, but actually to unleash energy in other people.
A gift of time is one of the most heroic things we can ever do, remembering that it's not the person who rushes by and deposits his money that matters most, it's the person who stops and takes the time to pick up the vulnerable. That's what they do.
Through every action they've taken, shown us that we are all world citizens and that we can thoughtfully, in every action we take, make a huge difference to the world.
What we're trying to do is be part of this whole mind shift that has to take place.
They have chosen to take a path that they didn't need to take.
They love each other, they love their family, and they love the planet.
Everything they do is genuinely authentic. Everything they do is because they care, and they make that their mission.
The more we can build on our strengths, which is where I've always focused on, the more we can manage our energy instead of our time, the more we can put ourselves with these gifts to the service of others, the better lives we will live. So hopefully people will say at the end of the day, you know, he lived a good life and he left this world in a little bit of a better place than we found it.